Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you, this time talking episode 4 of Season 4 of The Flash, Elongated Journey Into Night. And this time around we are introduced to the character of Elongated Man, Ralph Dibny. Um, Now, it is interesting to note that they cribbed quite a few ideas from the origin of Plastic Man, sort of a person who was a criminal of one type who decided to be a hero and also had these stretchy powers. Uh, uh, I don't remember Elongated Man's origin in the comics being terribly interesting. So I think that and tying it in so that he has a closer relationship with Barry is a good move. And they did name drop Plastic Man as sort of a way of nodding. It's like, yeah, we're cribbing a lot from this character. And, that's all well and good. It is worth remembering that in season 1, Ralph Dibny was mentioned as one of the names of one of the people who was killed in the particle accelerator explosion, along with characters like Beatrix DaCosta and Grant Emerson and Al Rothstein. Well, we saw Al Rothstein on both Earth 1 and Earth 2 in Season 2. They more or less forgot, I guess, that he is supposed to have died. You know what? I'm just going to blame that one on the legends, somehow messing around with time. Here, with Ralph, it's entirely possible that him being alive could have been a result of Flashpoint. And possibly the same situation could be for Beatrix and Grant, who respectively were fire and damage, which I would be cool with, because Damage is one of those characters from the 90s who's more or less kind of been forgotten that I always was oddly fond of for some reason. Anyway, let's just kind of get right back and get into things a little bit more depth. This episode does a really nice job of introducing us to Ralph. He is a multifaceted character. He's somebody who did something that was pretty unquestionably wrong, but it does seem like he was generally trying to do it for a good reason. And I do like that Barry notes that, like, hey, we've all done some pretty questionable things here. I mean, he specifically mentions the pipeline, which of course is where he was basically locking people up indefinitely without trial. Serious violation of human rights. And I think it's that sort of thing of, just how much farther did Ralph really go than he did that really sticks in Barry's craw, and why the two of them are on such terrible terms so much. And I thought it was really amusing that Ralph would say, "Oh man, I used to be a fan of the Flash, and now I have to hate the Flash. This sucks." That was a very nice little touch. But we do get to see that, despite his rather sleazy attitude, that there does seem to be a spark of good in Ralph, which Barry is able to appeal to. So you just kind of have to wonder, was there something specific that took a man like Ralph, who probably at some point in the past was a genuinely good person, and made him start becoming just more and more selfish? One would assume from what he says that um, sorry, I got distracted by my phone. Him losing his job is what sort of further pushed him into embracing just full-on blackmail as a way of dealing with people, which, not cool. That scene where he says to the mayor, "Yes, I'm blackmailing you to stop blackmailing you." That was nicely done. And I love that scene with him running up Ralph's arm into the helicopter. That was great. That was so funny. Um, I also like how Caitlin did a nice job of pointing out, it's like, hey, you know, I'm we have dealt with genuinely good people who were struggling with their powers and, did some pretty questionable things. We should give Ralph another chance. And I do like that they're taking a nice little step forward with the subplot that's going on with Caitlin. The horseshoe was a nice touch. If you know the casting announcements and the like, you have probably a pretty good idea of what that's a reference to. Um, I will say one thing for this episode, though. I was really excited to see Danny Trejo come on the show. And while he does a nice job, I mean, he goes out there and he does his most Danny Trejo. Uh, I was ultimately kind of disappointed just because this whole subplot with Cisco is treated as comedy, which, okay, that's fine. Cisco is a character that works well with that. But as other people have pointed out, is Gypsy really supposed to be this blasé about her dad apparently going around murdering guys who are interested in dating her? And, doesn't do they not realize that, if you do kill Cisco, the Flash and all of his friends are going to come for your head? I mean, Gypsy has said, I've fought breachers, I've fought speedsters before, I can deal with this. Presumably so has her father, but still, you would think that, your dad trying to murder someone you care about would be something that would be treated with a little bit more seriousness. I do like how, at the end, Breacher, aka Josh, is all like, "All right, you seem like a brave and tough. You're a tough dude. I respect that, but I still hate you." That was a nice touch, and I did like that moment between Harry and Cisco as well. Also a nice touch. So I guess it's just the over the topness of it all. It was just a little too much. There, one of the things, and this is something I've complained about on Legends of Tomorrow too, is you're just asking me to take a little bit too much not seriously. Now, granted, on shows like this, there's a lot of stuff where you have to sort of say, like, okay, we can't take this too seriously. My favorite example being, with a lot of the metas running around Central City, tearing things all up. In the real world, they'd have probably been, killed by police snipers rather and such. I mean, seriously, they have just put a couple of cops with sniper rifles up on some nearby buildings and had them blow these guys' heads off from like 300 yards away, something like that. But that's not terribly interesting now, is it? In terms of dramatic storytelling. In terms of dramatic storytelling, it's interesting to have them fight the Flash. Let's see. Oh yeah, the whole Joe and Cecile thing. Like, Joe, why is just telling people such a struggle? I don't really get that. I don't know. So, oh yeah, and of course Barry gets to hear the name DeVoe, and apparently DeVoe, despite being extremely intelligent, hired Ralph under his real name. I mean, I'm going to assume that from what I know of the Thinker, DeVoe is genuinely his last name. Why in the world would he do that? That's dumb. But they did make Barry kind of realize, like, uh-oh, something really bad is coming down the line, because I remember what Abracadabra said. So, nice touch there. Very nice touch. And, yeah, I think that covers everything I had to say about this episode, guys. So, I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And you can also join me on Tumblr at Jedi Reviewer and on Twitter at Who's Your Jedi. Till next time, take care and have a good one.